Kelly here, and today is Friday, June 25th. Can you believe it? June 25th. It's June 25th. And here's a couple of things for your weekly eBlast. As we are continuing to emerge, I'm just kind of wondering what things are you getting back into? I know that we were pretty careful during the stretch of COVID. After vaccinations, it felt whenever we would explore and to do new things, like we traveled to California, it's like we safe, started going out to places where people gathered. And all the way up to last night, I was at a yard goats game, big crowd of people, albeit outdoors. I mean, what's it like coming back for you? How are you doing with that? And what does it feel like for you? And some just three things I like to bring up about our return to church. You may or may not know that back in 2003, I was involved in a great experiment to see if we could plant a church for people who did not go to church. And I spent 18 months specifically. And then because of the kind of church, I spent a lot of time always trying to just get conversations going to ask people, oh, what's going on with you? And where is God in your life? Particularly people that didn't go to church. People still had a sense of God, and certainly God speaks through people. And so one of the things that I came across was the church had become largely irrelevant to most people. It wasn't so much they had lost their belief in God necessarily, but that they just felt church was irrelevant. Coming back from COVID, our re-entry into church, my guess is that we're going to have two different trends, some trends I've read about, and I'm going to guess that where our church is going to take both paths at the same time. Some people in our church will, after having been away for as long as it was, what is it, like 15, 16 months, they will have found that the church as they knew it really wasn't that important for them, and that they could probably do well with God or have a good life without going to church. Another group of people will decide that the community, being a part of the community where people share each other's lives, where there's support, where you're serving other people are helping you, this community, a community of all ages, where some people are younger, but you're also helping and dealing with people who are older than you. That a community like that, some people have found, is vitally important. When they were isolated during the time of COVID, they found that what they had for community, for some people maybe it was traveling with the soccer team on Saturdays. For other people, it was just things that they did nominally, a club, group, and sometimes church. That community wasn't enough. What they really wanted was the place where people could be honest and share their lives with one another and have a commitment to one another. Two different directions. Church is irrelevant. It really didn't meet the needs I had, and I'm fine without it. And no, I need that sense of community and something more. So I'd like to suggest that there are three questions. One is that we're being asked to evaluate what is discipleship in our life. Discipleship in the scriptures was never a kind of like a menu of things that people chose from. Like sometimes I do Bible study, that's discipleship. Sometimes I go to church and worship, that's discipleship. Those are sort of things disciples do. But discipleship is specifically training. That is to say, people become not only believe in Jesus, but Jesus becomes the one who's not just like a classroom teacher, but more like when you get into the trades, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, and the people who have achieved and have a level of experience and have passed certain tests, people who can now teach, are called the master electrician, master plumber, master carpenter. The people who join and want to become and get certification for those roles are apprentices who work under a master. For Jesus and the disciples, there's a difference between followers and disciples. Disciples took the invitation, joined with Jesus to learn from him, not just about life, but how to become like him, like the master electrician, The apprentice is becoming like the master electrician in all aspects of life, really, in the way you do business. The disciples were becoming like Jesus in order to do what Jesus did. That's a pretty profound thought if you think about how that would change how you live your life. So my first question is, what, as we return to COVID, what level, what kind of discipleship might God be calling us to as members of our church? From church members to believers, followers of Jesus, are we called now perhaps to become disciples of Jesus, to really begin learning to be like him and how to do what he did? So that's one question. Second question is about community. It's great if you have been a part of this church and you've been a part of a small group and you've done that over the seasons of your life. You have the benefit of some sense of community for during this time of COVID. But for younger families and for people who are new, and for some people who just attended, they were not necessarily part of that kind of community. I really do wonder, could God be calling us to a deeper sense of community, which means a different kind of commitment and a deeper commitment. So discipleship and community and our experience of God, just our deep experience of God. That's touched by both discipleship and community. But I wonder, is God calling us again right now to something deeper, to know him, to experience him, to have our lives inspired like from within, to have a greater sense of that? I'm hoping that all that we went through during COVID wasn't for nothing. And those are the three areas. Boy, I would love to see the Holy Spirit touch some lives so that many of our church people really took a new look at discipleship, even though they've been in church for a long time, but took a new look at discipleship, take a new look at community and how can we go deeper as a group and fulfill those relationships. And third, our own experience of God, to not be satisfied with just what we've known in the past, but to go deeper in our experience of God. So that's just a little tidbit. That's also a little bit of what's in the Trinity Times, which is one of the things I'm announcing. You can get that online and have it, the e-version. And if you call the church, you can have the hard copy sent to your house. Okay, some practical things. Coming up this weekend, we have worship, and weather permitting. I haven't looked at the weather. I'm looking at it right now. The weather for Sunday looks great. Little clouds in the morning would be perfect for worship. It just gives us a little break. So church at 8:30. Bring your chair, bring your prayer book, or at least a phone where you can pull up the prayer book on your phone, and bring your coffee, bring a snack. I mean, let's enjoy ourselves in the presence of the Lord. We will devote ourselves fully to worship, but it's an opportunity to do that because we're outdoors. So bring that. Talk to some of your friends about those three questions and say, hey, our church is like this guy is telling us we need to kind of rethink what we do. We want to be a part of something like that. So go ahead and make an invitation. Invite someone to come and be a part of a discipleship community and a deeper experience of God. So that's this Sunday. We have 8:30 for the outdoor service. No need to register. You just need a chair, and we got our metal ones if you forget. But we got just bring a chair, prayer book. We'll give you one if you forgot that too, and we'll see you at 8:30 in the morning on this Sunday. At 9:45, we have said that for those who are fully vaccinated, that masks are not required. However, if you would like to wear a mask simply to support those people who can't be vaccinated, I mean, we certainly want to honor you if you decide to wear a mask, and we want to honor one another, whatever choices we're making. So no need to register, no assigned seating. So church on Sunday, 9:45. And if you want to do that from home, please go ahead and get that link that gets you into the Zoom version of that. You have a little more interaction and give us some feedback. We've changed some of the way we do church. When it was just all Zoom, it was really easy. It was just me looking at a camera. But now we have people in person. I'm curious to get your feedback from Zoom. If you're on Zoom, what you think about I think that's probably all we need to do for today. We're hoping that you see this weekend. God bless you. And we hope that God continues to show his presence to you, to draw you in. Thanks.